Hawa. It feels good to be a nation that is the purified substance. They've called you all the bywords. They've made all the snares and the jares. They've poisoned our minds. They've tainted our frequency, man. What is it all about? Y'all think this is play? You think this is a game? Are you not entertained? Man, some people are getting the entertainment. Some people are just entertained by information and they don't do anything with it. They don't manifest anything. They don't go inward to Hawa. They don't breathe. They have no security in their breath. So who are you? Who are you that finds foundation and stays with it and gets planted? Who are you that is planted and growing, creating? When you're in the creator's frequency, you create. When you're in the creator's frequency, you are creative. When you have your mother, you see everything. Why did Solomon ask the Most High to grant him his mother? To be bonded and never separated from his mama. He had to go to his father who is the shaper. He had to go to his father that molds, that forms with frequency, with vibration. Whose vibration are you in? Many of us are in hijack frequencies and hijack vibration, and it doesn't mean that brother to brother we don't love each other, but man, you know, excuse us if we lack patience. Excuse us if we lack, you know what I'm saying, just the ability to deal with more hijack than we've been allotted already. But we will not stand for no bullshit. As we grow, as we restore ourselves and regain our kingdom, we will not stand for no bullshit. Because we have all the drop already inside of us, all the ingredients that your mama has given you the vision and the frequency and the creativity to put together. Are you not ready to feast on a fine meal? With whose ingredients? What ingredients are you putting together this fine meal, this beautiful cuisine? You need to be in the breath and in the foundation, and know that every breath is a foundation. Hawa to the tribe and all those waking up across the plain, man, from plane to plane. Yeah, man, yeah. Paleo, Picto. Hire, man, let me get the wheel, man. Let go. Yeah, man, love the hire mark, man. Go dig on it, man. Go subscribe. One of the realest ever. And please, man, yeah, dig on all that, because this is all a connected classroom, man, and you got to get it all. You know what I'm saying? So, love to teach, who just dropped some phenomenal drop, man, and get that Doraldo, man. Let's go, man. Let's go. Love to the copper thread. Let's go. Sometimes you just got to meditate on it. See, once we get this, you know what I'm saying? Once we just get the story that's being told, which is why we've been surfing the wave of the Erectology, because, you know, others can break down different things, you know what I'm saying? But I like the story. And when you get to this cross, this is the pre-hijack cross, which means what? That the cross in itself as an indigenous symbol is not hijack. When you see the cross and it's all over garments, pre-hijack, it does not mean Jesus. If we're talking the Picto language, the pure tongue, the pure frequency, then when we get to this Tau, this mark, this sign, this signature, see, this is a sign of you, Hawa Israel. This is a sign of your mark, of you reaching a mark, of you reaching a crossing, of you crossing into another frequency. You have to dig on it or you will get left on. This is your towel. This is your mark. They hijack your mark and give a new Joshua and a new test. And you think I'm crazy? Let's go. So you got these links, dig on them. This is the Erectology link that we're going to be referencing. And I got to study this, man. You know what I'm saying? I really want to put the story together because I know we're going to get so much drop out of it because of the way that this story is connecting. So let's get back to this Aleph. I want to finish up. You know what I'm saying? You got this link as well, man, with the Picto, the Paleo, all the way to the modern, to the A. So, you know, according to this Erectology cat, he says Daniel sealed the deal. And Daniel, when he says, I'll seal the book, he was literally transferring to the Picto, you know what I'm saying, all the way to the modern. And now you have these Chaldean flame letters, this Babylonian flame letter. In the time of the Babylonian exile and the exilarchs, we're getting back in that prestige on because it's all related to this Daniel and how the book was sealed from going from the Picto, from the Paleo to the modern Chaldean flame letters. Now it's the unsealing. Now you have people only able to speak this because they can't get in this frequency. There is a barrier, another barrier that you exist in that's been preserved for you. So we have this link as well. So we're gonna man, get back in the library. We're going, you know, yeah, man, we got another library coming to you. So this one has over 100 PDFs. Please keep digging on it, man. You know what I mean? And there's so much in here for you that we haven't even touched on yet. So all these will be over there. We got a lot of new drop, man. Love again to the sister Cara J, man, hitting us with a lot of new drop. I'm still trying to get the PDF on this. Somebody said it was easy, so just drop it, man. Drop it, man. If you got it, if you can find it, drop it on me, man. Lost Secrets of the Sacred Ark. All right, it's only $4, man. So might as well just go cop that. So let's get it, man. Let's get back to this Aleph before we go to the bed. And again, all we got to do, my people, is learn the alphabet. To learn the alpha, not the alpha, not the alphabet, the alphabet. When we get back to the alphabet, you're going to be able to put the story together and break through their spell. Just learn it, practice it. Practice writing in the Paleo, Picto, all the way to the modern. Just keep practicing every day so you get the story, because no one can tell the story but you. No one's interpretation matters but yours, because it's inside you. It's been sealed inside of you. So Erectology, man, let's get the last, few, 10, 20 minutes of this, and then we'll go to the, actually, I'll go to another great drop, man. This Dr. Frank Seekins Hebrew word pictures, and see what he got to say on this too, man. So let's get a little bit more of this to left, and let's go over there, and then we'll get to the bet, man. We'll take our time with it because we just really want to get this Aleph bet. So we're going to take our time with it, man. Love to try. Oh, wow.
Like this menorah. Pay the mouth, or the words, or the explanation. Suffering that, you think back, I think it's in Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, it says there's 4 things like this that are just so wonderful, and it's the emperor with his fleets. And you say, well, what's Yahweh's fleets? When it says Yahweh Zavot, well, Yahweh Master of Legions, Yahweh Elohim Zavot. Well, again, using the dictionary, I'm going to jump off track here a little bit. But you say, well, a Zadi Bet is something swollen. It's a turtle or a covered wagon. It's an army. That's Zavah, and Ot, Vav Tav, is the pluralization of that. So it's okay, Yahweh doesn't say the word master in Hebrew. It says Yahweh Elohim, which is to say the mighty one, where we get the word God. Legions. Doesn't say that. Zadi Bet is to inflate something, and an Aleph Vav Tav is an oath, which is to say something you've sworn to, which is a sign, it's your word, but it's also a letter of the alphabet. The Red Dictionary will tell you that. Other dictionaries won't tell you that. A letter of the alphabet, Yahweh, the Ein Sof, going back to that word, means without limit. The word Samic Vav Pe Sof means a limit, which is the opposite of to accumulate. It's to put a restriction versus accumulate is to keep gathering. Ein means without, but this is Ani, same letters rearranged. Ein, Sof, Ein, A-I-N. Aleph, Yod, Nun is where we get the word ain't. I ain't got nothing. There's nothing. Ain't means without. There's nothing there. Ein, Sof means without limit. The Almighty, the one that's so big, you can't even define him. As soon as you define him as the Father, you've just reduced him. As soon as you've said, well, he's the guy who, you've just limited him. As soon as you say, well, he's bigger than, you've put a limit. He's without limit. So down here at this corner, there's this picture of like this little spiral kind of a whirlpool. The guy that was without limit decided to give us a limit. What did he give us? These 22 letters. He, the Ein Sof, decided to reveal himself in these 22 letters. These 22 Hebrew letters is what the manifestation of the entire universe is this. Everything you think, I believe it's the structure of your consciousness, your thinking abilities is embedded in these 22 letters. Everything that exists of our being, of our consciousness, of our...
Now he's saying our, like, oh yeah, everybody. You know this is for you. Copper colored race is found here. Period. So it's your being. It's your thought. It's your thought. Remember how we got with the words and how when they took it from a frequency language, a frequency tongue, it became thoughtless. All your words are gone to describe yourself. So now you're trying to describe yourself using their words and their frequency, and you become a slave every damn time. Because all your titles are taken. So anything that would have power is now going to them because they've taken your titles. And you have to go dig way back in 1828 to the definition of American to receive the truth. The original people, the copper color races found here by the Europeans are Americans. These deep, ruddy copper people, these copper conduit energy, energetic people found here, these so-called Negroes, like Dr. King, love to the fam Lincoln, you know who you are. He broke down, man, the Dr. King speech. He said, man, Dr. King clearly said that the so-called Negro now finds himself in exile, meaning forced out of his own land. His own land. So when you wake up on your own land and you know that this Paleo is right here and your artifacts are coming out of Michigan and the Grand Canyon and all throughout Mexico, then you know they're talking to you. And what did he just say? It's embedded in these 22 letters that's going to unlock your code in your thought.
He's bigger than, you've put a limit. He's without limit. So down here at this corner, there's this picture of like this little spiral kind of a whirlpool. The guy that was without limit decided to give us a limit. What did he give us? These 22 letters. He, the Ein Sof, decided to reveal himself in these 22 letters. These 22 Hebrew letters is what the manifestation of the entire universe is this. Everything you think, I believe it's the structure of your consciousness.
The structure of your consciousness is embedded in this frequency, which is why we're unlocking it. Let's go.
Your thinking abilities is embedded in these 22 letters. Everything that exists of our being, of our consciousness, of our existence, and our ability to recognize him is in these 22 letters. So these 22 letters are his limit that he's given us, though they're not his real limit, because he's got no limit. But he said, this is the limit by which you will reference me. So when we think the Father, the Creator, we're referencing these 22 because that's all he gave us. He determined this limit. So these 22 letters are like essentially his hosts. So when he says, I am Ani Yahweh Zavot, it's these 22 letters. Those are his hosts. And they happen to be, Ot is the letter of the alphabet, and Zadi Bet means to inflate. So it's Yahweh who says, Aleph, as I have planned, Tav, I will inflate every letter to its maximum capacity to fill the dream I had, and then say, there it is, Tav. Suddenly that's a different way to hear the phrase Yahweh of hope.
Wow, fulfilling of the dream. Fulfilling of the dream. So he keeps calling it Aleph Tav, which is why we have this up, man. He keeps saying Tav, the Tav, and we know he's just speaking Yiddish. He's speaking modern Hebrew. We know that's Tau. He's talking about the cross stick. So he says that the most, of course, he keeps going with the Yahwehs, and we already broke that down a million times with the Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? Just, we get it like it's the first time, because sometimes this is the first video or the first thing, you know what I'm saying, some of our families ever seen. So let's go. Let's just put in Yahweh, because you're going to keep hearing it. And I just want you to, know that he's bringing something to you from 1869. And this is their conglomerate. They can't speak your tongue. They can't go Picto. He's trying to break it down, but he's going to keep putting Yahweh in it. You know what I'm saying? Based on the assumption of the Tetragrammaton is the imperfective of the Hebrew verb ha-wa. So you hear us say ha-wa. Well, yeah. Because they're getting all this based on the so-called Tetragrammaton, which is a frequency of this verb, this action, this verb, hawa, I am, to exist, which is the earlier form of heya, which is was, in the sense of the one who is the existing. So we say hawa because that is the ancient name in the ancient tongue. We're talking breath and security. We're talking the hey, which is the ha, the hey, which is the ha, which is why they say look, reveal, breath, H, and then they say ah, ha, man with arms raised, look, reveal the breath, wah, ha, wah. They describe it as a tent peg. Remember, the Most High describes the earth in your orientation, stretching out the stars, the heavens, shamayim, stretched out like a tent for you to live in. So what secures the tent? The foundation. Secure, add, secure, hook, foundation, hook, security, a secure breath. Every breath you take is security. Ha, wah. That is your framer and your shaper, tent peg, literally going into the soil. Masculine, tent peg, wah, security. That's your father. Hey, ha, look, your breath. Reveal. Again, Adam was taken from the rib. Eve was taken from the rib of Adam. Breath. Love to Paco breaking that down, man. So, breath, rib cage, man. He hit me up, broke down the whole breath, the rib cage, man. How the rib cage, protects the breath, the respiratory, man. Y'all go subscribe to Paco because he's doing nothing but giving you that hotness, that realness, that copper color conduit, that energy. Ha. Wah. Security. A secure breath is ha-wah. Hey, ha. So we get to the root of it, man, to the ha-wah. The imperfective Hebrew verb ha-wah. So we're just talking primitive Hebrew H1961. Strong's Concordance. Earlier form of heya. The one who is the existing. Every time we speak of breath and existing, a secure breath is your existence. A secure breath is your existence. A secure breath, ha-wah, is your existence, is your security. That's your action. Every time you breathe, it's an action. Ha-wah. He's going to say Yahweh, all right, because he has to, but you don't. You're free.
Yahweh's of oath. And he says, I and my majesty, what these letters mean are my prestige. These letters are my fleet. So here there's a picture of the Nun Psalmic. Well, the Nun is the living room, Psalmic is the structure. So you could say, well, Yeshua is the living word. What's a word? A bunch of letters that tell us concepts. He's the living word surrounded by his hosts, all the other letters. But it's also a picture of Israel around the Mishkan. It's also a picture of the 12 tribes that are all the expression of Yahweh.
And just, love to hire him again. You know what I'm saying? Again, man, we're going to do it, thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to brush through any of this. This could be a 58-part series, man, so we can get it right. So you just said Yeshua, which, of course, they're referring to their Christos. He's bringing Christ in. When you go to the first part, he says, I'm an American Christian, but I'm a scholar of this Jewish stuff, too. So he says he's a Christian. So he's going to keep bringing Christ in, his ideology. You hear Joshua. He says Yeshua, which is also Joshua, right? But you have a Joshua. He says he's the living word. The living word. Well, to be alive would be to be a seed. To be a seed. Joshua, son of who? Son of Nun. N-U-N. Let's get this one over here. Sprouting seed. Nun. Joshua, son of Nun, son of Nun. Continuance, continue, an heir, a son. Oh, a son. Joshua, son of Nun. Now you have a Yeshua or a Jesus, another Joshua, who's the son. Come on, people. We can't make this stuff up. This ain't play. They hijacked your Joshua that led you on to the promised land. More recent than you think. They referred to him as this Quetzalcoatl. Then the Mormons came and said, nah, Quetzalcoatl refers to Christ. Christ? And they referred to this priest king as their Christ, or a reference to their Christ. Their Joshua. That's how they hijacked him, even in the Mormon shit. But they had to still give reference to this priest king that's found here, this Quetzalcoatl, who is a son, a sprouting seed. Oh, he's the sun god. They try to make it. You see how they're flipping it? He's the heir. He's the sprouting seed. Oh, he's the living word. Yeah, living, sprouting, seed, a continuance. If you're a living word, you are an heir. You are the image. You are the son. You are the continuance. You are the seed if you're a living word. Hawa, shua. Let's go, man. Left the harm. Let's go.
Yaakov, the expression of, it goes on and on. What I'm showing you is that once you see these pictures, you could start jumping again, ciphering, connecting the dots, going from here to there, and it's all a picture of the kingdom. This is all a picture of the kingdom, and Yahweh chose his words to do that.
Once you get it, you can connect it, you can separate it. It's all a part of putting together the kingdom. That's what we're doing with getting our Joshua, reestablishing our Joshua that's been put in the back of our minds, who is a Mashiach, as Moses is a Mashiach. We revere our Hawashua, our Joshua, the way we revere Moshe, hand in hand. You've been taught to forget this Joshua consciously and cling to their Joshua. They stop at Moses and put you in a consciousness trap and said, Moses, 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 Moses. And no one's making movies about Joshua, are they? They don't want that real in their consciousness. They don't want the reality, the sprouting seed.
Anyway, Ani is what he said to Abraham. Ani El Shaddai. Well, this is Aleph Lamed. We talked about Lamed Aleph, right? Lamed, it means no. What is Aleph Lamed? It's the inverse of the two letters. So technically, if you read this, just to make it clear, this chart was not designed to say Aleph Lamed. The word Aleph Lamed means judicial application. It's in there, but this is not a spelling of words. This is looking what these letters mean from these letters' point of view. See, each letter is a point of view. An Aleph is a strategy. A Bet is a body. A Gimel is like a verb, a body in motion. So you could say, what's each letter from a strategy point of view? What's each letter from a basic object point of view? What's each letter from an action or a verb point of view? That's what this top section is. So you could say, what does Aleph Lamed mean? Strong, Aleph, and Lamed is an authority. Yeah, but Lamed Aleph is an authority strong, or an authority set in motion. We could take time, you could ponder the difference, but literally Aleph Lamed, looking in the dictionary, means motion toward. It also means deity, strong and powerful, but when it's by itself as a prefix, and here's the benefit of the dictionary, you can look it up and it means motion toward. Shin Dalet Yod is Shaddai. Well, Shin Dalet Yod in the dictionary means devil. I am El Shaddai. I am the strong devil. That's what El Shaddai means. It also means field cannon. That which devastates. That which just wipes everything out and pulverizes it down to nothing. It also means provider. It also means the dispenser of benefits or the hurler of arrows. There's a few other things. But the next verse, the next word says, Hey, Tav, Hey, Lamed, Kaf. And it's like, this is the word, I'm El Shaddai, walk before me, is the way it's translated. Well, you look in the dictionary, and this is why I said before, if you start on the left-hand side, Lamed, Kaf is the last two letters. Lamed and Kaf are the two letters in the purple right in the middle. And Lech Lecha is the parashah section that says, go you out. Lecha means to go out. But it also means to you. Kaf at the ends means your. Hey, Lamed Kaf, if you look it up in the dictionary, is the word halakha, which is how you walk. So when there's a tav, generally it's designed as a way to mean past or present. And then hey is the beginning, means the. So the, past or future way you walk. So it's translated, this is how you're going to walk. So it's translated, I'm El Shaddai, walk before me, because the next word is la pene. La means unto. It's, again, that shepherd's staff that provokes emotion. And pene means face. Look it up in the dictionary. Before my face. Vav, hey, yod, hey means to exist or be. And then tav, mem, where we get the word tom, as in Thomas, means perfect. So you have the breastplate and the stones were Urim and Tumim. Where you can say, well, people say there's these two stones behind the breastplate which glowed and made, vibrated or something, and they'd use it kind of like a Ouija board to give an answer. But the two words Or and Tom mean light and perfection. And I believe that there wasn't necessarily two stones that have been lost that they can't find, but they were quality attributes of all 12 stones, meaning Or and Tum, walk before me and be perfect. The 12 tribes of Israel are supposed to be the lights to the world as the branches of the menorah. And Yeshua said, you're the light of the world, though we regard him as the light of the world. And he says, you guys are supposed to be the light of the world. But you're hidden. You're stopped up. You're extinguished. As a matter of fact, the word for star in the book of Revelation means to extinguish. Yeshua was seen by the Apostle John as having...
What people have been locked up, hidden, and extinguished. Now he interjects his people into this. And can you honestly, factually, historically find another people today extinguished, locked up, and hidden? Their entire identity hidden. Their history completely hidden. Their indigenous history seems to unravel the entire puzzle.
Having 7 stars in his hand. And it's like, this is the mystery of the 7 stars. The 7 stars are the messengers to the 7 assemblies, which are the candlesticks, which is the word menorah. Well, the word menorah, if you see the way it's spelled, is mem, which is the place of, nun, the active doing of vav resh, which is the word for light. But it's also then hey is revealed. So here's the place where the active burning of light is revealed from. That's the word menorah. But we think, oh, menorah, that's the candlestick. But if you break it down letter by letter, it tells you why it's called a menorah. But he said he has 7 stars, which are the messengers to the 7 menorahs. And it's like, well, what is the word star? You look it up in the dictionary, it's kaf vav kaf bet, and it literally means to be able to be extinguished or to put it out like a fire extinguisher. And it's like, then he said it's the mystery of the 7 stars regarding the 7 menorahs. Like, what's he trying to say? Every single image in this book is a picture, is a riddle, is a mystery. And if we read the English narrative, we've lost it. So Jeremy was saying earlier, I'll use your example. Somebody can show you the picture of the Mona Lisa, and then they can come over here and describe to you, even if they do a perfect job describing to you the Mona Lisa in words, you're not looking at the Mona Lisa. If you look at the Mona Lisa, you're seeing it, but he could be describing it. When we read it in English, it's not the real thing. What Yahweh gave us in this Hebrew alphabet is so deep and so complex, but the way you do it is to realize he had a plan that he put into the Aleph. And the Aleph says this is the system, how everything else finds its place. Let me go back to El Shaddai thing real quick. So it reads, I'm El Shaddai, walk before me and be ye perfect. Let me tell you another way to read it. Motion towards power and strength, our Aleph Lamed. Shaddai, dispenser of benefits. If you say Tav He Lamed, Tahal, it means praise, glory, fame, renown. It also means folly, error, sin, or profanation. There's one of those words that's the opposite. This is your fame and renown, but this is also your folly and your error, which if you do that one, you'll become the famous for being an idiot. 12 tribes of Israel. But it also is the process of bringing down to the depths. And it says, and it can be, the He can be read as the and your. This is your praise, glory, fame, and renown. And then Lamed, La Pene, can mean emptiness, or to turn and look and regard and consider what's in you. I'm El Shaddai, your provider of benefits. Hey, wait a second. Stop and look within you and see your emptiness. Well, see, the letter Bet is within. So Aleph, El Shaddai. I'm El Shaddai, your provider. This is what the Aleph is all about. I'm El Shaddai. Shad is actually a female breast, and it means that which nourishes and provides. But Dai is the word for enough, stop, it's over. The one who calls it quits. So he says, I am not only the one who benefits, I'm the one who calls it quits. Do you see the embedded Aleph Tav there in Shaddai? I am Aleph, the one who provides it all, and I'm the one who says, this is the end, Tav. That's in Shaddai, if you read Shin Dalet, and then if you read Dalet Yod. These riddles are all through there. But then that's in the Aleph position, then he says, I am El Shaddai. The word for walk can be seen as the one who gives you your prestige, and then turn and look within you and see the emptiness. The word Hey Yod Hey actually in the dictionary means happen to become or come to pass. It's not be perfect, it's what will come to pass because I am El Shaddai. And then the last word is Tav Men Yov Mem, is to astonishment, wonder, amazement, whole, complete, sound, healthy. It's not you better be perfect, is that I will complete and perfect and fill up your emptiness. And what did Abraham have? The emptiness of no son. Wow. And he said, I'm El Shaddai. I know your emptiness. You see what it is? You see? Anyway, we could go on with more things he said in Bereshit 17. But basically, Yahweh, if we know how to read this, you have to start thinking, what did he say? And you can't read it in English. And you won't see it in the modern Hebrew. I mean, you can kind of, because you go back and you read in this dictionary, which is modern Hebrew. But then if you transpose the modern Hebrew into the Paleo, and you see what the letters mean, which is where this chart comes in, keyed to the Mishkan. The Mishkan is keyed to the 7 days of creation and the 7 festivals. Those 3 things are purely of Yahweh's own. It's also keyed to the Beatitudes, which where Yeshua gave us the word. Interestingly enough, I'm going to throw this in, but we're almost up to a break. The word Mashiach. So people think, well, it means the anointed, which it does, but the word Shin Yod Het means the communicator, the speaker, the conversationalist. He came to talk to us. That's what Mashiach means, because Mem means from or out of or birth through. So he came to talk to us.
He came to talk to us. Now, some tells me, man, the hijack ain't far behind. I know he's going to bring in his Christos somewhere soon. But if we stop right there, Mashiach in the Paleo, he's breaking down to he came to talk to us. He came with a message, a messenger, not someone you worship. We don't give worship to anyone or anything that gives us a message, but we give worship, we give praise to the source of the message. You don't send a messenger so that this messenger gets distracted and thinks that he's the one that created the message. The creator of the message is the only one that gives or receives your energy. And when you give it completely to that which forms you, then out of that comes your connection, your breath, your mother, your wisdom, who says, I see you're in order. I see you're in the order of that which has formed and shaped you. Let's start connecting and severing it all so you can have it all. And along the way, you have messengers, Mashiachs. They can be giving you a message like, get your ass up. They can be giving you a message like, man, the Most High is displeased in you and you're about to get your ass whooped. They could be giving you a message like, stand up and fight, let's go. Depending on the time, the cycle of the creator of what is being manifested at that particular moment. And what's being manifested. Man, get too excited, man. What's being manifested right now? It got to get you excited. It got to make you rejoice to be in this process right now, knowing that what is being manifested is your redemption, that it is redemption season. That's the message to you. All your suffering, all your pain, gone. Let's go. Stand up. Choose up. Choose your highest frequency right now because it's time for you to be reestablished. It is time. It is your season. Do you believe it? Do you believe you're special enough to not be a homeborn slave? To not work for people your whole life, but to already have it because it was created for you? If you have your land, what do you need people for? What do you need other people to go through to sustain you when the Creator has given you your land? Then you go to your Creator. You have all these illusionary and make-believe landlords. They call them landlords. They're lords over your land. When you have your land, you have your freedom. Focus on the goal. Focus on the message.
We just think, oh, he's the anointed one. Yes, he was the anointed or the designated speaker. It all goes back to the word. The word Vayikra, which is the word Leviticus. And he called is the literal translation. This whole concept of he's always talking to the Levites, all those laws that we don't have to study. That's not what it says. The first word in Hebrew is, and he called, Kra. The word Kufresh Aleph, there's that Aleph, literally means to call, to summon, to assemble, to invoke, to teach reading, to call to read, to call to come up to the front and read the Torah, which is what they do in synagogues. Which is to say, the greatest thing he can do for us is to teach us to read. He chose the foolishness of preaching to be the vehicle which dispenses his word and scatters his seed. Yeshua came as the word. He came as the communicator. So this business of just saying, oh yeah, I think I'm going to learn some Hebrew.
I told you, man, the hijack's never late. Hijack's right on time. Oh, and now it's about their Christas so that all these hijacks can feel happy. Look at the crowd. He has to preach to the crowd so that they can have their Christ. But he just told you this Mashiach is a messenger, but he ignores all your messengers and goes to the one that they feel happy about so she can grin on her face and says, yes, he's the word. He's the seed. He's the seed. He's the sprouting seed, the continuance, the air, the sun. Oh, is that Jesus? No, that's your picto. That's your picto frequency describing Hawashua, son of Nun. Let's skip over this message of returning to your promised land and go to something that makes you feel comfortable, lady. All right, man, let's go, man. Let's go. We can go all day with that. Let's jump right quick into this Frank Seekins, man. I'm going to belly flop a couple times in this before we get to the bit and continue the drop. Let's go.
Strongest controller is. Whatever you let shepherd you is your God.
Whoa. Let's go back. Let's do it right. He appears to have a message. Let's go.
There is one impossible language that does what no other one can do. So we're going to talk about Hebrew word pictures. Some of the earliest examples of writing with letters instead of pictures are seen in the Egyptian mines of Sinai. This is a picture, if you look at it, that shows you an ancient Aleph. And this you can see is the head of an ox. And over time it changes to what we see as our A. The other letter you see in Sinai was a shepherd's staff. And it slowly changes to our letter L. And if you look at Proto-Canaanite, it looks like this. And then in Hebrew Phoenician, early Greek, and modern English.
Wow.
But these are the...
You see how the Greek completely flips it? Completely flips it? I mean, here the ceiling begins, but oh, look at this flip. And now they have L, now they got that. All right, so you see the flip.
The same letters. Phonetically, we get our letters from the ancient pictures. They're letters that transform the world. You can read them in English today, can't you? But they're more than that. Picture languages are written just by the picture with a concept. And if you look at them, this is the Chinese ancient picture of a heart in the bottom right, and the modern picture. You can see how the modern picture of a heart still shows you the picture of a heart. And it's used in different ways in Chinese. One heart means wholehearted. Isn't that what the Bible says? And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. And until you come to this point, we are fighting relationships. To keep current in the heart is the word for remember. Now let me explain to you, half of what I do is Hebrew, half of what we do is marriage counseling. And we do not charge for marriage counseling. At first we thought God did that to help other people. Let me be honest, in the last 20 years, He did it to transform me. Because if you do not charge for counseling, the only thing I get out of counseling is not money. I don't sit there and say, I need more appointments to make more money. The only thing I get out of counseling is the miracle of the marriage. And so what that's done over the years is make me refine, hunger for, figure out how to make marriages effective and powerful. It's transformed me.
Wow, so imagine if he didn't charge for Hebrew. Oh boy.
And when many people talk about what they remember, they think it's a mental thing. And if we look at the word for forget, it's what escapes the heart. Now tell me, if you had an appointment tomorrow to have a meeting to get a $500,000 a year job, would you forget it? And so what happens is the things that we forget. In fact, one of the things I've heard in Chinese, this does not just mean escape the heart, it means what's dead in the heart. And what you forget tells me not about your mind, but your heart. And there are times when we struggle to remember things in life. The answer is not a mental thing. The answer is a heart issue. There are things, think about it, there are things you never forget, are there? The things we forget when our walk with God and our relationships have to do with the heart. And as we go through Hebrew, we'll show you about how some of those work. A slave's heart in Hebrew. Interesting word, isn't it? Picture, at least. It's the word for rage. In Chinese. And what this means is two things. If you see a slave, they may look nice, but inwardly there's rage.
So when you've been made prisoners of war and your land's been taken, and you've been poisoned, and your, women have been mutilated and raped and, when all this has happened to you and you have nothing, and now you don't even have an identity, and they're telling you come from another continent so that they can have your land here, and they put people in your identity, and you walk around saying, it's cool, it's cool. They looking at you like, I know he's enraged. And when shit happens, they do things on purpose to play with your rage, to get you raging in the streets so that they can say, look at these hateful, raging people. When they win a hockey game, they tear shit up. When they win a hockey game, when they win, they tear the streets up. When someone of your family gets shot and you come together, oh no, look at this raging people. What are they going to do? They win the Stanley Cup. Car's on fire. Your best friend gets killed. You go crying in the street. They send 1 billion cops and start shooting, rubber bullets and poison, using biological chemical warfare on you to play with your rage, because they made homeborn slaves out of the tribes. But your rage doesn't have to bound you anymore. Give it to the Creator. Because now, with wisdom, we see a way out. We see that we can choose up. We can have a frequency, a higher frequency. We can regain our land, walk on our own land, and keep our covenant. And that we are protected in this frequency.
And if you have rage someplace, you're a slave. Someplace you're a slave. And you have to think of the things that enslave you in life, because they change you and they change your relationships. A picture is worth 1,000 words. You've heard of that, haven't you? And when you think of English, we have to sometimes use 1,000 words to say the picture. And I'm going to try to show you how you can do 1,000 pictures that are 1,000 words, but much more than 1,000 words, obviously. So Hebrew is a picture language, gives us the word, again for the aleph, which is the picture of an ox or a bull, and the lamed, which is a cattle goat, a shepherd's staff. And the ox, the aleph, is the ox bull. It's the number 1 in Hebrew. You've heard of the Alpha and Omega, right? That's the Greeks took that from the Hebrews. The aleph is the first letter. If you take Hebrew 101 in Israel, you'll take Ivrit aleph. It's what's strong and first. Think of an ox. It's strong. If we go to the next one, this talks about an ox and how it's used. Psalms 144:14, that our oxen may be well laden. This is the word. In Exodus 15:15, then the chiefs, the leaders of Edom. Zechariah 12:5, and the governors of Judah. In Hebrew, if you look at the 10 Commandments on a Hebrew format, the first commandment's always written down with aleph. They didn't use Roman numerals. You know why? Rome wasn't founded. A cattle goat, a shepherd's staff. It means to control or shepherd. So you get the word El, God. He is the first of the strong, controller or shepherd. Can you think of a better description for God? Now the interesting thing, it's not only the description of the true God, it's the description of your false gods. Whatever your strongest controller is, whatever you let shepherd you, is your God.
Bang! So when you, even with the L, we got the L being in a lot of their hijack because that's their shepherd. And they're using another frequency to shepherd you into the illusion, into the matrix, into the hijack. The Baals, the Baals. So it's not so much, the shepherd, but what is the source of this shepherd, of this lamed? What is your strong power? What's coming first to you? What is your L? What is your Aleph?
And you need to sometimes think about that for a minute. Do you want this to control you in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Bitterness may be sweet. It's a monstrous God. And if you look at our culture, we have lost the true God at the expense of wicked false gods. The experts have said, in my history here, what happened is about 30 years ago, I started to study the ancient Hebrew. Christian, Jewish, secular sources is what I turned to to find the meanings of the word. Now let me understand, I have one major vice in life. I have to read. I have to read at least a novel-sized book a week. Now, the reason I call that a vice is that I'm going to read something. One time I was so desperate, I was reading one of my children's fifth grade books. I can't not read. But because I've had a hunger for God, I started reading things like Babylonian history. And reading things about Hebrew and the roots of Hebrew. And I ran across, from some scholars, how Hebrew used to be an ideogrammic language. And they told us what the meanings of the letters were. And they even said there were 3 examples of what they called ideograms. Ideas, concepts written by pictures. One was a shepherd, the person looking out the window. And I thought, maybe there's more. Maybe there's 5 or 10 more. And I put together the research, opened up a Hebrew-English lexicon, and the first word I saw, I'm going to show you in a minute. But the first letter is Aleph. Just like in English, the first letter is A. In Hebrew, the first letter is Aleph. And it means an ox. And the scholars show us it's an ox. If you look here, going down is Aleph and ox. Aleph and ox. This is the Jewish book, Aleph, the picture of an ox. This is a book written in Hebrew, completely in Hebrew, so I'm not going to, but it says that Aleph, from the form of the head of cattle, aloof, Aleph, that it had in the ancient archaic script the name of the first Hebrew letter. You get a consistent pattern that Aleph means an ox. What I want to talk about are the Alephs of our life. What are the first things in your life? What did God create to be the first things in your life? The first are the strong, Bet. You know Bethel, Bethlehem, the house of God, the house of bread. What the first or the strong, what that is in life is crucial. It's the word for father. Take A, B together, we get Abe, Ab. It's the Abe of Abraham, the Ab of Abigail, the Ab of father. What's Abba? Daddy. And that relationship is crucial to us.
It's enormous, which is why they take the fathers out the households today, you know what I'm saying? And when they talk about the father, you know what I'm saying, the Aleph Bet, the Abba. So you're having the powerful leader of the family in the house, not out the house. So this Bet, you see it coming in, whatever is inside of it. I mean, look, this isn't, it's a long cry from this tent floor plan. It's the entire floor plan, the house, the floor plan, the house, the floor plan. What's inside of it? The powerful leader, that which comes first. So are you in your house? It is your floor plan. You have a family. You are Abba in your house. You're the man of your house. You are the vibration of your house. But what vibration are you going to bring into your house? What vibration are you going to form in your house? And too many of us today, us so-called Negro men today, have been through so much or are outside of our house, in jail, or whatever the case is going on, by strategy. This is war. So they have us outside of our house. Or they have us in a mentality where we're choosing to be outside of our house, or we have to be as slaves outside of our house to make money. So we're outside of our house regardless. And something is missing in the floor plan. The powerful leader. So what happens? Our women step up to do all these other things, and then they can only do so much. You know what I mean? So it creates an imbalance because of a system you're in that you have to slave in and be outside the house in, or taken outside of your house. That's your Abba. That's your Aleph Bet. Let's get some more, man. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. We'll get a little bit more.
And it's got a double-edged sword to it again. Once you realize that a father is the strength or leader of the house, that's a blessing and a warning. Good news is, for people like me, whose father was wonderful and not wonderful, you have any of those experiences? I could build on the strength my father gave me, but there are 4 types of fathers in Hebrew. There is your natural father, who raises you. There is your God. There are your teachers and mentors. And if you don't get strength from one, you can turn to another. You are not limited by just the one. And the one that counts is Abba, God, our Father.
Oh, wow.
The next one is the first or the strong fence. Now look at the first letter on the top. What letter did that become in English? A. How do you pronounce it? Yeah, right? What do you think the second one became in English? Became our letter H. But it's not a H in Hebrew. It's a. Now let me teach you the way I teach children to say this word. We're not going to go, ah. We're going to go, ah. Now say it very strong, ah. Now we'll do it like the British, ah. See how easy that is? So this is the word, you know how to pronounce it. It's not hard to read it phonetically, is it? It's the first of the strong fence. What do you think it means in relationships? It's the word for brother. A brother or sister is the first or strong fence in your life. The Bible says a brother is born for times of adversity. Now in Hebrew, like English, the word brother and sister relates to family members and friendships. And think about the friendships that you consider your brothers and sisters. Aren't they strong fences in your life? If you want relationships of brothers and sisters, you have to become a strong fence. It is a crucial relationship. The next one. He's the protector, but not all brothers and sisters are protectors. Ever run into that? Some are false water, or false fences in life.
False water. So when we search for pure water, we search for that unity, and we cling to it. We cling to the strength of it, that we protect each other. This is a huge point, and we all have to continue to work on this. None of us have perfected being a strong fence or protectors of each other. We're too busy competing, intellectually competing, physically, whatever. All right? Whatever. Emotionally competing, whatever. Don't hold on to your rage because it makes you a slave. Just be water. And watch out for the hijacks.
This is the word in Hebrew for the first or the strong water. Now the first letter on top is our letter A in English. What did the bottom one become in English? Can you see the M, the waves of water? Every time you write an M, you're writing waves of water. And you would say this in English, but the vowel's a little different. It's the word M, which means, have you ever heard the name Emma? Abba is daddy, Emma is mommy. This is the mother. Now, first or strong water, you may not quite understand this as much as I do, because I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And if you've ever visited Phoenix, Arizona, this is the desert language. I live in the desert. I understand this word. If you go to Phoenix or Scottsdale and you see this word where there's lots of abundant, strong water, we have an oasis, paradise. But if you take one step past the irrigation, have you seen what we have? A mother is the strong water. She's the life giver.
Life. Life. Your mother gives you life. Your mother gives you breath. What do you breathe? You breathe air. What is air? Water. When you take a breath, you are breathing air and you're breathing water. Water comes in many forms. Does it not come in a gaseous form? Can you not call it air? You still think that's air you're breathing? You're breathing your mother. Ruach, breath in the nostrils of Adam. Hawa, life. Eve came from life. Eve is water. Strong water. Eve is water. Eve is life. Eve is existence. Eve is Hawa. 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 Come on.
She's like water in the desert. She is the life giver.
Come on.
And if we go from there, from mother as the life giver, now we come to another word. This will be the hardest part of the lesson. Actually, the easiest. If you look at it, the first letter on the right, now Hebrew is written from right to left. It's not backwards because it came first.
First.
Does that explain English? Explains a lot about English. So the first letter became our letter A, right? The next one, M. Do not turn this third letter sideways. Keep it straight up and down. What letter did it become in English? N. Read me the word from right to left. Just say it out loud, you'll get it.
Amen.
All together. How hard is this language? Amen is the Hebrew word for faithful. Every time you say amen, you're saying it's true, right, faithful.
So when you break it into the Picto, the Paleo, and they said, nah, man, that's Amen. That's Amen Ra. That's Egyptian, man. What came first, Egypt or the pure water frequency? This is the frequency of creation. This is the frequency that everything is created in. This frequency. Nah, brother, Egypt predates this frequency. Man, that's called the black hole. You can go down that hole forever and never reach your creator and never go beyond the barrier and only stop where thought has stopped and follow thought's tracks. But thought never goes beyond the barrier, ever goes to the greater light. Go back to your Paleo. Go back to your faithful.
So be it. But there's more to that word than faithful. This has a picture to it as well. The first two letters spell mother. The noon is the picture of something moving, of action, of life. And if I were to have designed the word for faithfulness 30-some years ago, before I knew the Hebrew concepts, I would have described faithfulness as some warrior, some man fighting against all odds, against everything, some man working 12 hours a day in a hard area. And Hebrew says, that's faithful. There's something more faithful. And it simply says, read it together, the concept, that faithfulness is a mother's life. The life of a mommy.
Wow.
Can you think of anything more faithful than a mother's life?
Your framer and your shaper. In Christianity, they separate you from your mother and they say, oh, no, the creator's just by himself, just walking by himself, this lonely man creating stuff. And then you read the wisdom of Solomon and how wisdom is crying out to her children as a mother. And you're like, how am I missing my mama? The faithfulness is the life from your mama. And your mama gives you life when you choose up in the form and the vibration of Abba, your shaper. Oh, all feminine energy is not wisdom. No, there are many feminine hijacks. There are many queen mothers, queen bees. Listen again.
The first two letters spell mother. The noon is the picture of something moving, of action, of life. And if I were to have designed the word for faithfulness 30-some years ago, before I knew the Hebrew concepts, I would have described faithfulness as some warrior, some man fighting against all odds, against everything, some man working 12 hours a day in a hard area. And Hebrew says, that's faithful. There's something more faithful. And it simply says, read it together, the concept that faithfulness is a mother's life. The life of a mommy. Can you think of anything more faithful than a mother's life? A mother with a brand new baby at 2 in the morning. With a 2-year-old running for the street. With a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, 25, 45, 65-year-old. When does a mommy's love quit being faithful? Never. And that's why God loves you like a mommy loves her newborn baby. That means with all of his heart for all of your life. Do you see why I like Hebrew? Do you see that I've taught you that Hebrew is written in 3 different ways? Is it phonetic? Is it pictorial? It's also relational. Hebrew writes relationships. So what I'm going to do to show you this concept, I'm going to take just for a moment, after this desert boy gets some water, and I'm going to show you a concept called men, women, and fire. Now, if you've ever had anything to do with the other gender, you know that fire is involved in there someplace.
Come on.
But I'll tell you, God designed it. And if you look at the concept for fire, Esh, you'll see on the right, you see the picture of something strong, of what is first. On the left, it looks like a W, but it's not. It's a picture of sharp teeth. Now, if you turn it sideways, clockwise, it becomes the Greek letter sigma. Get rid of the bottom portion, it becomes our letter S. And this is the S or the SH sound in Hebrew. It's the word for fire. It's the strong teeth. And from this word, we get the concept of fire which devours. Think of fire devouring a house, down to nothing, a forest, a city, one day the world. Is there anything stronger, really, than fire?
One day the world.
The Hebrew words for man and woman, husband and wife, are built around the word for fire. A husband is written as Ish. And do you see the picture of fire, or right there, the strong teeth? We're going to ignore the middle one for a second. It shows you that letter. The woman or wife is Isha. Together, we get the 3 letters that are alike, show the Aleph and the Sheen that is in both of them, right? We're a lot alike. 2 out of 3 letters are identical. But the differences are clear. 1 letter in each word is distinct. If you take the differences between men and women and combine them, you spell a Hebrew word. You spell God's name.
Wow.
It is Yah. This is the Yah of hallelujah. When you
So we know how that goes, but get the drop.
say hallelujah, you say halal, praise. And then you have the u, halalu, is all you, plural, everyone, you all in Southern. Praise Yah.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know it was that, did you? Maybe here you've been taught it. And what I want you to realize is that in the Hebrew word pictures for men, women, and fire, you've got a choice. The Talmud says that the reason that combination reveals man and woman together with God in the midst is when a marriage is done right, His Shekinah, His glory dwells there. And if you think about that, that's a powerful thing. In the Jewish perspective, in the Hebrew, It's only equal to the Holy of Holies. But what happens if we take God out of that combination? You spell fire twice. And in Hebrew, if you double something, it's the ultimate King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Fool of Fools. So we have two choices. Either God's presence is revealed, or men and women have the most destructive fire there is.
Bang.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an ouch? We've all seen that. For just a minute, I'm going to show you just how consistent this language is. This is the word for dog. The first two letters. Ever heard the name Caleb? It means dog. Did you know that? Caleb was called Caleb because they say he was as ferocious in battle as a dog, and the Bible says he had a heart, a spirit for God like no one else. And the word picture for dog is all heart. Can you think of a better description for a dog? Now realize for a second that there are times two people entered the promised land of the 12 spies. Did you know that? Who were they? Joshua and Caleb. The rest of them saw the giants and said no. But Joshua means God saves. And there are times when I know that God saves that I don't care about the giants. Do you? But Caleb is important too, because there are times I do not know God saves. But if I have a heart for God like Caleb did, wherever he goes, I go. Live or die, I go. And either way, you will enter the promised land. And there are days I'm Joshua. And there are days I'm Caleb.
Powerful.
And the giants don't change the heart of Joshua or Caleb.
And who are the giants? They don't change the heart of you. The giants don't change the heart of you. So now that we know this is some good drive, man, we stop on the 25-minute mark. I'm going to get right back in so we can get the introduction to the bet. All right. Actually, what's this? Lesson 1 left. There, lesson 2 left. Let's see. This might be good because we need to get as much on this left as possible. So if we got another left, then we can tie some more stuff together. So yeah, right on time, man. All right, let's get some more left, man. Because when you go with the left, you're dealing with the first. You're dealing with the power. All right, so we need to get all this drop, and then from there you can actually go. He keeps referring to the dictionary, the etymological. What is it? The etymological dictionary of the Hebrew. I got it right here. All right. Etymological dictionary of the Hebrew language by Klein. Last name Klein. That's ordered that. I forgot how much it costs, but it's a pretty penny. But definitely, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to start digging in on it. You know, just digging on the Aleph. Just looking at all the words with the Aleph. And that can start giving some type of story that we're going to get into here, man. So we'll make our dismount here for, the next 20 minutes or so. Get some more of this Aleph. And then as you see over here, he has a nice, it just keeps going. He has the bet, and then he's going to go letter by letter. So we'll just start going, you know what I mean? Just keep going letter by letter. But it all starts with this foundation here, the Aleph. All right, so this is the disc 2 of lesson 1, Aleph. I'll leave the link. Let's go.
The language of the Hebrew man, loud and clear. The language of the Hebrew man.
Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36 are two kind of specially highlighted verses. There's kind of a space, they're set apart, and there's an upside down letter nun before it and after it. And the rabbinical commentary in the bottom of these are like brackets or parentheses or asterisks to highlight. And it's like, well, what's the big deal about these two verses? And they say, well, somehow in these two verses, they are equal in weight to any book of the Torah. You can say, well, what if you could say these two verses are equal in the merit of their message as any other book of the entire Bible. It's like, what's in these 2 verses? What they say in English is, when the ark would rise up to move out, Moshe...
Let me get the verse again.
And the rabbinical commentary in the bottom of these are like brackets or parentheses or asterisks to highlight. And it's like, well, what's the big deal about these 2 verses? And they say, well,
The language of the Hebrew man.
Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36 are 2 kind of specially highlighted verses. Be scattered.
Numbers chapter 10, verses, is it 25?
What if you could say, there's kind of a space, they're set apart, and there's
Write it down.
Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36 are...
Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. I know he's going to talk about it, but hey.
And when the ark would come to rest, Moshe said...
We have the ability to just dig on it right quick. So, Numbers chapter 10, let's go on, one of my favorite resources here, bobclassic.org. Got some good resources if you're digging on it, but let's just go to the KJV. Let's see what they're saying. Numbers 10:35, right? Okay, 35 to 36. So Numbers 10:35. These 2 verses contain the weight, is what he's saying. It says, it came to pass when the ark set forth that Moshe said, rise up, Hawa, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee. And when it rested, he said, return, O Hawa, unto the many thousands of Israel. So it's about rising up. It's about the returning of your Creator. And let's see where he's going with it.
Come Yahweh, abide tranquilly amidst the myriad thousands of Israel. Let's say, well, it sounds like narrative. It sounds like we're just telling you the facts. This is what happened when the ark would move. Moses said this, when it said that, Moses said that. It's like, well, okay. But furthermore, the rabbis also say, apparently, in the commentary, that they really don't know why those 2 verses are interjected right there in the Torah narrative, that they don't seem to fit, that they're out of chronological sequence with what was happening before and after, and it's like, gee, they appear out of nowhere. Well, one thing that I've found is that if you see a verse which is translated a bunch of different ways in every version of the Bible you get, it's a clue that there's something going on there and that the translators are stumbling over it, and it might be good to look there. And I used this analogy a few minutes ago, that if every time you walk by a certain path in your carpeting, you trip over something, and you can say, oh, I'm just going to avoid that. But if every time you walk past, you keep tripping over it and trip over it, what is under the carpeting? Stop and look what's under the carpeting. Oh, that's the thing I lost. Oh, my wristwatch, or maybe I stepped on it. Or something. The point is, how do you notice where this is? People who do excavations looking for gems or dinosaur bones recognize strata in the geological structuring where they say, this looks like the kind of a place where you could probably find this, or probably look for what they call a dinosaur egg with crystals inside of it. That's what this is like. So one thing I have found is that when you find 10 different English translations, and every one of them are completely different, it's like something's going on in there because nobody knows what to do with it. And when the rabbis say, well, we don't know why these verses are here, and something's going on, we don't know what to do with it, and it's really special, it's like, maybe I should look. And one of the things I found in terms of how do you find this alphabetic sequence is that if Yahweh says, this is my covenant, it's like, oh, that sounds like either an aleph, here's going to be my covenant, or it's going to be a hey, which is to say, I'm revealing this, which means if you move backwards a few paces, you might find the aleph, bet, gimel, dalet positions, and if you read it forward, you might find this, and then, so a lot of this is actually searching. And the word tav resh, which is, you might say, tav resh, that's the word tar. But tav is the sign of a covenant, but it's actually the sign or the indicator of something, like a logo. But there's a Nike swoosh. Oh, that's the logo of Nike, but it's also a sign of Nike. You can say, well, what's the sign of an exalted man? Or the sign of the Messiah? or the mark of the Messiah, or the mark of us being noble men, those who search and explore. The word tavresh, means to search and explore. There's also actually about a half a dozen different words which means to search and explore, seek out mysteries, and they all have to do with these great things. And so, and I'm saying that to say that, well, like what I said about the word kra for vaikra, and this word for tar, is that if you start seeing through the red dictionary, somebody had a red dictionary there a few minutes ago, so I'm pointing at the red dictionary that's not there anymore. Anyway, there, that's okay. Just get these things in your mind, and you. The point is, all the words which talk about secrets, mysteries, things hidden, treasures, when you see the way the word's spelled, and then you start ciphering, jumping between the dots and making these connections, they look really great. And specifically, you think, well, wait a minute, Yeshua talked about a treasure in a place. He said there was a treasure in a field. So in English we go, okay, well, you picture some field out, some farmer's field somewhere. It could be any field. But if you know the word for field is Shaddai. Shaddai is a field, a place that's completely, you might say there used to be a city there and it was devastated. The cannon blew it all to bits. Same word as El Shaddai. The mighty field is one way to read it. Shaddai is an empty field. But Yeshua said there's a treasure in it. So if you say, well, wait a minute, there's something hidden of great value in El Shaddai. What does that mean? In what I've provided? And there's another place in the Old Testament, it's either Proverbs or Ecclesiastes, that Solomon wrote. He says it's the honor or the glory of Yahweh to hide a mystery. Now, I've heard people say Yahweh doesn't hide stuff. It's like, he absolutely does. I mean, once you start looking at the word for hide or treasure or mystery, you'll find it all through the Tanakh. As a matter of fact, the word treasure, now when we think treasure, we think, oh, that's shiny stuff and something of value. That's not what it means in Hebrew. You find the word treasure and you look up in the dictionary, and the treasure is something you hide. That's a treasure, something you hide. And what is a hiding place? It's some place that you put treasure. It's almost like this little, my commandment is to love me. How do you love me? You keep my commandments. Well, what's the commandment? What really is love? John said, if we say we love him and we don't keep his commandments, we're a liar. We've deceived ourselves. There's no truth in us. I mean, this goes all back to what did he say? If we say, I love him, and the reason I love him is because he took away his commandments, it's like, that's false doctrine. He said, you go back to my voice. You go back to my word. Anyway, we could go on and on with that. But the point is, between the inverted noons is one place that you trip over. So if you take away the verse, the words that simply said, and when the ark would stop, Moses would say, although if you interpreted that, there's something in there. Because again, that reads as the narrative, but the words could be read different ways. There's stuff in there too. But to just extract out of those verses, what did Moses say? Well, here's the thing. To read these words and you don't know what they mean, you're just reading phonetics. But if you do know what the words mean, then they mean something, and then you can, as it were, pray with fervent, applied thought, heart, not just parrot words. In fact, this is just, excuse me for taking these tangents, but I remember hearing a few years ago, somebody came up with some prayers on a tape deck. So it's like, hey, I'm going to say these prayers, and I'm going to put my tape deck and just have them going all the time, and so I can go watch cartoons, and meanwhile, all my prayers are going up to heaven. Does that count? Huh? Just once. It's like the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much, and there's another place that says, Yahweh speaking, I'm paraphrasing, he says, how dare you take my words on your lips, you who have no regard of my Torah. Who do you think? It's like, severing the dots, reminds me of the story then of Yeshua saying, I think it was Yeshua, maybe it was in the Gospels just telling a narrative. Anyway, there was this guy, I guess it was probably after Yeshua, during the Acts maybe. This guy said, I've been watching the way these things work, so he decides to try it. And he comes up and says, in the name of Jesus, who Paul talks about, I'm going to kick out this demon. And the demon says, I know Yeshua and I know Paul, but who do you think you are? actually, there's 7 sons of Shiva. And actually, the word Shiva means 7, or the one with 7, so it's not 7 sons of Shiva. Shiva was the guy who had 7 sons. Again, if you know Hebrew, you can see the way these words work. Anyway, these demons just jumped on these 7 sons and tore them apart and left them screaming and running, with their clothes ripped off. And it's just like, in other words, this is dangerous stuff. This is like playing with a loaded machine gun. If you're not doing Yahweh's stuff and you start invoking these words, this is probably where it became known as black magic and Kabbalic, sorcery and everything else. The reason I say Kabbalic, I don't know anything about Kabbalah, but it's occult mysticism of using the Hebrew language that some Jews deal with. That's all I know.
So once you get this loaded machine gun of frequency and you're out of order with it, that's why the Most High will have you forget it, because all you're going to do is put bad intentions on these crystals. If you put bad intentions on the crystal of your trees, Most High is going to cut down your trees and say you don't need them until you're in order, because you can put horrible vibrations on these things and they can put you and others into captivity. These energies will put you in captivity. So don't invoke them out of order.
About it. I haven't researched it, but I do know that it's regarded as dangerous stuff you better not mess with until you've studied it for 40 years and this and that and the other thing. But that's not what this is. This is not Kabbalah. This is not a cult. This is not sorcery or witchcraft. This is simply, what did Yahweh say? That's what this is. So what did Moshe say? He said, Kuma Yahweh va'i patzo ibika ve'i naso mesh naika me penka. And that's what he would say. He'd say, I can barely say that. I don't know what it means. Well, if you look at these letters written in Paleo, again, Kuma, well, that's basically where we get the word for comb, or that's what stands up, like the rooster's comb on top of his head. It's something you look at. It's like pillars standing. Yahweh, Va'ipatso, pets, pezadik, like where we get the word pizza, is to scatter, like the scattering toppings across a pizza. Va'ibika. Anyway, it's the word for enemy, but the other way, you can read this differently. If you sit there and say, well, Bet Yod means in me, and you're in me, and Aleph Yod has to do with where, and what I'm saying is that if you look at this, you can start breaking this down and say, what was he really saying? And it might read different than the narrative tells us what he was saying. But there's something in this. The second phrase, Yeshuv, is where we get the word teshuva, which is to return and come back around, to repent and come back to the Torah, which is the root of the word Shabbat, which is the place that you come back to and rest and sit down on the 7th day. Shuvah Yahweh, Ravavot. That's Resh Bet Bet Vav Tav. Well, Vav is kind of like a vowel. Rababat. It sounds like rabbit. Well, rabbit. Well, we think, what do you think of with rabbits? Multiply like rabbits. What does Rababot mean? To multiply like rabbits. It means multiply or increase by the thousands, by the tens of thousands. It's also the word for arrows or rain. And it's like, have you ever seen these movies, in the Middle Ages where there would be a military assault with arrows, and it's just like arrows like rain. It's like, oh gosh, what do you do? If you're the guys... Excuse me? Yes. Well, here you go. Is it R-E-I-G-H-N? Well, here's the point. It's arrows like rain, R-A-I-N, but, I'll get to that in a minute, Alphi, or Alpi, that's where I was saying where we get the word for Alps, or Alpine, which is the top of the mountain, which is the highest and best, which is to learn Hebrew, and then the word Israel. So let's just look at this last line for a second. One way to read this, return, Yahweh, what's translated, come Yahweh, and abide tranquilly. The word for come abide tranquilly is not here. Well, where did they come up with that in a translation? Well, the word shuvah. It doesn't say anything about tranquilly. It says come and abide. Well, when you return on the Shabbat, it's to reside tranquilly at your house. So the translators have inferred that shuvah means return and abide tranquilly. Well, where does it say amidst the myriad thousands? Well, Aleph. Aleph can mean 1,000. So Alphi can be regarded as my 1,000. But it's not just my 1,000. It might mean my pinnacle, my Alp, my highest, my elite, or my best. But what about the Rababot? Well, that means multiply like rabbits, or like coming down like rain, where there's just thousands of these raindrops. So it might mean that's where they get the word myriad, and then Israel. But another way to read this is to say, wait a minute, the Aleph, the plan was for Yahweh to give Israel the blessing or the curse. Which do you want, the good news or the bad news? I'm going to give them to you both, but which one do you want, the good news or the bad news? Oh, we'll take the bad news. So Israel opted to take the curse first. I believe we still stand as Israel, coming back to the Torah. We're teshuvahing back to the Torah, the words, the kol, the voice, kufav lamed, the kol, hearing the cry, Kuf Resh Aleph of Yahweh. Kuf Aleph is silent, so Kuf Resh Aleph Yod, which would be my cry, is cry, Kuf Resh Aleph Yod. That's Yahweh's cry, which is to say, invoke, to call, to summon, to read, to regard the words, to teach, to read, to learn, to regard the instructions, going back to the Kaf and Lamed. Anyway, I'm trying to show you these connections. If we are asking him to come back and to multiply or increase, if you start looking up in the Red Dictionary, bet is the word for gateway or entrance, like the entrance of a castle, the big gate that opens up. Could be the entrance of your house, but it's like, wait a minute, resh bet is where you get the word rabbi, and so you could say, well, rabbi is a great one, an exalted one, a noble one, one that we give prestige to. So he could say, wait a minute, what has this got to do with bet is in, bet means in, coming into the gateway or the entrance of a big gate, and vav tav, which you might say connected to the covenant. So one way that I would read resh bet vav tav is, resh is kind of an exalted man, bet like a rabbi or given honor. It's like return Yahweh the open doors to the citadel of Israel's alpine honor. Well, if you read Deuteronomy 28, and if you read in Exodus where he talks about what the blessing is to Israel, you will be the head and not the tail, you will lend and not borrow, he will give you grain and everybody will come to you, and you will teach the world what it means to not sin and to regard Yahweh, and he will lift you up with prestige, and we will be known as Ish Israel, the man of Israel, the man of Yahweh, Ish Yahweh. It's like, and then you read the book of Esther. You know, the Jews were scorned and hated and despised, and then this thing turned around, and they hung Haman on the gallows that were meant for the Jews, and suddenly everybody, a lot of people converted to Judaism and said, oh boy, you don't want to mess with them.
Judaism, or Hawawuda, they converted to the Creator, is what he's saying. Is that they say, well, teach us those laws, man, because we don't want to lay down like that. You cannot convert to be a tribe. They put an ism on you. Word to higher mark, man. They put an ism on you. They put an ism on your tribe. They want to convert to your tribe, but your tribe is your seed. Your tribe is your seed. Your tribe is your sprouting seed, your continuance, your heir, your son of Nu, Hawashua, your promised land. So, you know, dig on all this, man. We got a few minutes, so I just want to kind of highlight something I was looking at while he was getting it in. And, you know, he tells a story, man, when you deal with this Aleph Bet. So we're going to follow this Paleo Hebrew and see if we can tell a story. You know, I'm not a scholar of this and we're not this, but maybe inside of us we can start putting this together, following the breadcrumbs. So we start with this strong, this powerful leader, right? You know what I'm saying? We got it up here. So we start with this powerful leader. This powerful leader now is entering into a house. So you could look at this like the creation story of the Most High putting his vibration on the house, which is the tent, which is the earth. The Most High puts his vibration inside of the house or the tent or the floor plan. And then what happens? You gam, foot, walk, you gather. So some action is happening together. Now that this vibration is in this tent, in this house, and together you're walking through a door Now, when you get through this door, when you take a step with your brothers and your sisters in your wall of protection in your family, so you can apply this to your family, you can apply this to the creation of the earth. There's many dimensions. Again, he said these 22 Paleo Picto are the entire connection, the entire story. This is what connects it. So, you know what I'm saying? This is how you got to start doing it, man. So he got it up right here. So you have this powerful leader, right? Going into this, what he has look like a fish, you know what I'm saying? You got this looking like a fish, man. Then you got the camel as a lineman, or the shepherd, or the camel. Then you got this door. All right, so however he's putting this fish on it, we're just sticking to the meaning. the meaning. The house. So, you know, that's how we got to dig it. So you got the house, the strong, powerful leader entering this house, walking together, gam, moving through a door. You get through the door. I know he had the door up here. You know, I haven't really studied this chart, so, you know, maybe this ain't a fish. It look like a fish. You know what I'm saying? How does this relate to house? Only he knows. I don't know. But then he's walking through a door. You see this doorway. And then what? You go through the door and hey, or ha, aha, something's being revealed. Aha. All right, so you got the ha, aha, ah. Look, reveal, breath. So you go through the door, something's being revealed. You're seeing it together. The vibration's being revealed. The Most High is revealing something on this earth. Then he's securing it. Then it's being secured. Then something is being cut off. So whatever is being secured is now cut off, which is why you had this picture. Fair use and yoke abuse. This picture of this axe. Now count the days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 7th day, there's a cut off. Your Shabbat, it's a cut off day. It's separate. You separate it. Something's being cut off. Then you have a nourishment after the separation. The alchemy occurs. The separation. Something is nourished. So you got the hook. Something's being cut off. Something's nourished at the time of this cutoff. Now what do you have? The chet. The chet. Remember, it's not an H. It's a chet. Outside, divide, have. So what does he have up here? I'm trying to follow it. So something's being divided. He has like a castle or a kingdom that is now divided in his particular illustration of it. But we're putting together ourselves, man. Let's go. So then we have this tent wall. So you have the cutoff. Now you have a tent wall or a wall of protection, or like he had a castle. Have, divide. We're divided out. Surround, contain, basket. So something is now being contained, a surrounding, a containment. So once it's cut off, once it's revealed, you walk through the door, revelation. You have security. You have a cut-offness, a nurturing. The Most High is now dividing and putting something on the outside, and now you have this kingdom that's being formed, this kingdom that is being surrounded and contained. And now you have this yah, this arm and closed hand. Work, throw, worship. What are you throwing? What are you worshiping? What's being contained? What has been divided? Then you have the kaf, an open palm. Open, bend, open, allow, tame. So this is how we're going to keep going through it until we can put the story together of what happened in creation, of what's happening now that you containing, now you can go to work, now you can throw it, you can spread the frequency, you know, you can worship this security, you know your breath, you've walked through that door. Teach with that openness, you can open the palm, you can offer, you can teach. The Most High is now leading you, teaching you, guiding you to bind, teach. Now you're bound in the yoke, you're bound in what is contained. You, as a shepherd, you're leading it, you're guiding. The Most High is guiding you into the what? The blood, the covenant, the water, which can be chaos, can be mighty. It can wash you up or it can nourish you. All praise Hawa. We're going to continue on, man, and get more drop. Love to everybody, man. Surfing the wave. Keep digging on it. Stay up. Suit up. Choose up.